We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.
No oil, no problem. Unless, of course, you're a business or a consumer who relies on the Texas tea to earn your paycheck. Russian supplies are refused by the Biden administration, and Jen Psaki insists that the problems are all to do with unwilling producers in the US. And naturally, all of this is echoed as gospel by the Biden-friendly Fourth Estate. But what's the truth? Well, to figure that out, we're joined by economist and author Andrew Moran, who's been tracking the developments of this black gold closer than anybody else. Welcome back to the show, Andrew.
Thank you for having me. And it's oil I need.
It's oil you need. So, Andrew, Jen Psaki tells that this administration is not unfriendly to energy producers or of the fossil fuel variety. She tells us that 9,000 approved oil leases are just sat there idle. Now, this sets my spidey sense tingling. Is the devil in the detail?
There was a great quote from an energy analyst I spoke to yesterday. She said that she's glad that Biden is sanctioning Russian oil like he sanctioned U.S. oil. So I thought that was pretty clever. But yeah, this whole 9,000 number, it's so misleading because on the surface, yeah, great, okay, 9,000 leases, that's fantastic. But there's so many other factors to take into account to show that the war on energy is still apparent in this administration, whether before or during the energy crisis. A common issue that with a lot of these leases is that there's tremendous litigation challenges made by these environmental organizations. So many of these leases cannot be utilized during the legal process. Another one is that a lot of companies, they do horizontal drilling. So they'll need more than one lease or a couple of leases. So what they tend to do is that they merge an existing lease with a new lease. That creates all other bureaucratic challenges to get approval from the states, and that requires more assessments. And then the other issue too is that when an oil and gas developer may get a lease, but then they find that, okay, after all this time, the land isn't used. You can't drill properly because there's not enough resources under the ground. So that makes the whole lease useless. It wastes so much time and money. Then, of course, you also have the environmental assessment aspect of it. You saw that recently, Biden, he suspended federal land leasing because the judge ruled that, these environmental assessments are too stringent on developers. So that's another aspect to it. And then one more, there's so many, but I think another major factor too is when it comes to capital investment. A lot of these active investors, they're emboldened by the administration, or they're at least encouraged by the administration not to invest in the oil and gas industry. Oil and gas has become dirty words right now. So a lot of these companies, when they try to drill, they can't get enough capital investment because people don't want to invest so much in fossil fuels anymore. They want to invest more in windmill turbines and solar panels. There was a recent study that came out that said that the windmill turbine industry is worth $100 billion over the next 5 years alone because of all capital flowing into it. So this whole 9,000 leases, it sounds great on the surface, but then once you dive into all the nooks and crannies, most people will not do, they'll say, oh yeah, these oil and gas companies, they're just, rich fat cats who are greedy,
Yeah, I'm seeing that reaction across all of social media today.
Yeah, exactly.
Whenever anybody criticizes the oil situation, they say, oh, but there's 9,000 leases available.
Exactly.
It really has the narrative, the spin has permeated those who are willing to be fooled. There are some people actually betting on the market that oil is going to reach $200 a barrel. Now, I know that this is a bit of an outside bet, but I think 150, 160 it's almost a certainty, isn't it, Andrew? And what impact will something like that have on consumers price-wise at the pumps? And does it endanger business on a broader scale?
Yeah, it does. And when you talk about $150 a barrel, that's quite likely. $200, there have been some options trading where they're speculating it's $200 a barrel. So that's highly possible. The Kremlin says it could be $300 if you impose all these embargoes in Russia. So yeah, there has been some easing during the March 9th trading session, but overall, there's still so many fundamentals to support higher crude prices. Now, when it comes to your question about how it will impact consumers, not only is going to impact, there's going to be pain at the pump, it's going to be your nightly dinner too, because of higher energy prices also means higher fertilizer costs, because a lot of fertilizer, urea, ammonium, they're all byproducts of natural gas. And then when it comes to the impact on business and the broader economy, I've been combing through a lot of research notes and speaking to analysts and looking at all the estimates. It seems almost certain that Wall Street is betting on either slowing economic growth, stagflation, or even a recession. You look at the Atlanta Fed Bank, the GDP now forecast. The model shows 0% growth in the first quarter. You look at the Fed Bank of Philadelphia, their GDP forecast says 1.3% in the first quarter. I was watching this interview the other day with Bill Gross, and he was saying he expects contraction in the economy. It's going to be a recession coming forward. And then some other guy even said we're in a recession now because other factors are showing a recession. Manufacturing production, global GDP has been waning. So yeah, overall, this jump in crude prices is going to really impact the economy moving forward, especially on the inflation front.
So this is a very different story from what we're hearing from the White House and the mainstream media. And it seems to me, Andrew, that this spin machine has one singular purpose in mind, and that's to protect Joe Biden and his party until November 2022.
Yeah, it's really amazing. You watch CNN or any other mainstream media channel, it's the exact same narrative. Oh, we're speaking to Americans who are willing to pay higher prices to stop Putin. It's the same message across the media landscape. It's astounding. One day I'm waiting to see CNN interview one of their own cameramen and say, oh my God, these gas prices are so high, but we have to do it to stop Putin, just like they did in that protest after Trump won. But, everywhere you look, CNN, digital newspaper, they're all using the Biden message of this is the Putin price hike. I mean, Biden really put that into people's subconscious during the March 8th press conference, and Kelly Ballard reported on that. And all these rich people, George Takei, Stephen Colbert, they say, we have to pay $4 a gallon, but what you can do? You can just buy an electric vehicle. That's going to stop the pain from happening. And and this is going to be repeated over and over and over again heading into November. And one more thing, the talking point is that Biden is not responsible for these gasoline prices. But then I mentioned this earlier, they celebrate when there's a decrease in the price of gasoline. So they want their cake and eat it too. It's not his fault why prices are skyrocketing, but then we should celebrate him when prices are falling. So it's a psyops operation, if you want to go all conspiratorial on the general public when it comes to monitoring gas prices. But yeah, when fall comes, I'm going to be glued and I'm going to spin my head watching all the economic fallacies being perpetrated by the people with the pension of mendacity.
Yeah, it seems buy an electric vehicle is the new let them eat cake or learn to code. Andrew Moran, thank you ever so much.
Thank you for having me.
You're listening to Liberty Nation Radio, heard across the Radio America network from our flagship station in the nation's capital, WWRC in Washington, D.C. Remember, you can tune in for Liberty Nation from 2 to 3 p.m. Sunday on KBKW 103.5 FM, 1450 AM, the talk of Grays Harbor. Down the line, we talk liberty with Scott Cosenza, discussing the cases that matter to your constitutional rights. But after this short break, we'll tackle asymmetric warfare at home and abroad. Stay tuned. We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.
We're doing it for real, really real. Liberty Nation.
And Jeff Charles, contributor for LibertyNation.com.
I think we're starting to make an impact. Liberty style, fight for freedom.
The tracking poll sponsored by Liberty Nation for Thursday.
Mentioned by Dan Bongino, Rasmussen, Jordan Peterson, and
I
others.
can do it again if you want me to.
Cited in Mark Levin's American Marxism.
I think we're starting to make a really big impact. Get noticed. We're doing it. Rock on. I'm gone.